Welcome to episode 72 of BirdFans Forever podcast, the podcast for true Illinois State University Redbird fans. Whether you're tailgating at Hancock Stadium, courtside at Redbird Arena, or just bleeding red and white from wherever you are, this is your home for all things Redbird sports, spirit, and community. On today's episode, we've got something special. Trevor Arbogast joins us to talk about the exciting new Redbird website he's launching, complete with fresh blogs and exciting media, and gives us a sneak peek into RDB, Roll Damn Birds, a brand new project he's developing alongside standout Ty Pence. This dynamic duo is cooking up something big for Redbird Nation. So grab your gear, rep the red, and let's get into it, because once a bird fan, always a bird fan. Bird Fans Forever starts now.
Hello and welcome to Bird Fans Forever podcast, episode number 72 with Ty Pence and Trevor Arbogast. I think I got the T in there, Trevor. Did I get it? Good. All
Solid
right.
T.
Solid T. I was going for that because we know how many times we've got to edit up this podcast when I get mistakes in. So we are here today talking about the RDB t-shirt, which Trevor and Steve have on, and that Ty wore a lot down at the CBI tournament. And then we're also going to be talking about, and we're going to lead this off with the rdb1media.blogspot, which is the creation of Trevor trying to promote ISU athletics. So, Trevor, talk to us about RDB1 Media.
Yeah, so RDB1 Media, sort of based off of my license plate, RDB1, is really just a free source of Redbird information, stories, and just kind of perspectives about what's going on with multiple sports. So across the spectrum of, we've got baseball, we've got men's basketball, women's basketball, volleyball, football. So really the emphasis is on all things Illinois State athletics, and then all things Bloomington Normal that supports that, sort of that, back and forth. Illinois State helps local community, and the local community helps Illinois State.
Very good. Go, Steve.
So Trevor, how'd you come up with this? Were you what was your inspiration? Were you just out late one night and you and your buddies thought this up, or what happened?
Well, without, saying, anything against anybody's, system or structure of, their media, but I think that it's really important to have free and accessible, information and things that are interesting to Redbird fans. So having to, go somewhere, you see a story and, there's a paywall. And for me, I just don't like having paywalls because, it should be about, it's about us. It's about we coming together, sort of how Coach Peden was talking about today at the 1998 club event. It's about we, it's about, contributing what you can. And, for me, I don't think it's right to, basically take money or ask money from fellow Redbird fans for stuff that really I'm not even doing. I'm basically just saying, it's Ty, it's Johnny, it's Hannah Reichensberger, it's Erica Wells, you name it. They're all contributing at a high level, and, they're entertaining us at the end of the day. And, I just appreciate, their contributions on and off the floor, off the field, off the pitch, you name it. There's just so much that they do, and I think it's important, that we basically give information out there for these people and basically highlight their successes. And the best way to do that is not ask for money. I think just having a free, kind of like radio. You turn on the radio, you don't need to pay every time you turn on the radio, but there's information there. It's local, and it's from people that live in the area. So, I live in Bloomington Normal full time. I've been in Bloomington Normal since I was a wee little lad at Kingsley, Oakdale, Epiphany. I've lived on the west side my whole life, basically. So, it's just ISU is entrenched in that. And, it just doesn't feel right to, basically, ask for money. At least that's my perspective.
So you've been live, right? Your site's been live now?
Yep.
For just over a month, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah.
So tell us some of the content that you got on there, and how you decided to put that on there, and then maybe if we were to fast forward a year from now, what's your vision for the site?
So right now, I basically have a guaranteed weekly blog post. There are more than one. If you look out there, there's for how many weeks there's been around. There's more than a one to the ratio is more than 1 to 1. One post to 1 week, but there's at least that guarantee that on Sunday or by Sunday or at least one time before Sunday is done, before Monday begins the work, the traditional work week, that you're going to have at least one blog post, at least one unique thing, because I don't like to do multiple back to back to back, at least when it's not in season, because, right now there's baseball, there's, softball just finished, and then there's other things, soccer, that aren't necessarily directly related to ISU, but there's ISU players that are involved. But, I like to change up the stories and just making sure that I have, you can guarantee that there's going to be one per week. So you can go out there and that there's going to be at least a timetable that you can depend on, and there's going to be, fresh stories.
What day have you picked a day that you're going to release on? Yeah,
so Sunday. Every Sunday there's going to be one blog post. There's an exception with Easter, but Sunday is the day that there's going to be a post every week.
Okay, so if we're in the fall, right now we're entering summer session and stuff like that. So everything's going to off season shortly here. Mm-hmm. Are you going to do like weekly posts about the in season sports, or are you going to just keep rotating through all the different sports all the time?
So it's going to, when it's in season, I'm going to primarily focus on this. So if it's football season, volleyball season, soccer season, there's going to be a guaranteed, I'm going to have one post for those every week. So there's actually going to be a triple effort. So instead of having let's just do football this week, we'll do volleyball, and picking, because it could be a thing where, a big upset happens, or there's a major event, that happens in the landscape of one of the sports, and I'm going to want to cover it, or there's a big series or something that's going on. So I'm going to focus on the sports that are, but there's always going to be sprinkled in, future of it, like for, if it's volleyball, if it's fall, there's going to be winter sports and spring sports that are mentioned, but on the forefront, it's going to be the current sports. Yeah.
Yeah. And so if I was to look at the current postings, a lot of it, I would say they're kind of like recaps, right? And of some of the seasons, and some editorials, or like recaps of some special moments that happen in that sports season. Going forward, are you going to be line up men's basketball comes up, you have a little conversation with Mr. Pence, and that gets in the blog or something like that, or you're going to be interviewing coaches or anything like that? Is that in the works?
Yeah, so interviews are going to be big, not only with players, but administrators, coaches. There's going to be a lot of different just kind of takes and different perspectives. I'm even going to try to get grounds crew, or people that work on the fields, just to kind of get their perspective of what kind of goes in. Those are some things that have always interested me, especially being a Sox fan. The sod father, he's really big on his methods with keeping the grass and the dirt, up to par, and so it's always interested me, all kinds of aspects of sport, and in game day environment too. So I was thinking about interviewing Syndicate, because I'm a part of their football tailgate, but they're just really good people, really good Redbirds, representing the brand, properly. So just, I think it's about getting local people, but also people who are involved at the program. Yes, like you were saying, players, coaches, administrators, staff, really getting multiple kind of perspectives and stories, because it really is, it takes a village. And I think for us to be what we want to be, echoing kind of Peden's messages, we all got to do our part, and we all have to come together and try to lift this thing up. Or soar and score, baby. We're flying to new heights, and I have never seen the tournament personally, and I know that the guys are doing everything that they can, and I know that we need to do our part as well. It's not just sit back and hope and the armchair coach. I don't know anything about X's and O's really beyond what I see echoed from coaches and experts. So, for me,
And I can attest to that because I sit next to you during the basketball games, so you don't know that.
hey, I am also like probably the most positive.
You are.
Come on, it's a turnover. The ball goes out of bounds, and other people are, hey, good idea. That's at least the mentality I try to keep. At least is that if I'm not gonna, know what I'm talking about, at least I gotta stay positive. I can stay, if you know what you're talking about, you don't know what you're talking about. Positivity is the way to go. Like,
you are very positive, Trevor. I give you that. 100% agree. 100%.
Now, when UNI fans that sit in the Illinois State section at the Panther Stadium, when they start talking and start to instigate, I start to turn into the Hulk a little bit. I go from Bruce Banner to, I turn around and let them know that, because we just made a big play or they just went on a run or whatever. So if I get provoked, I'm ready to go full Hulk mode. But I try to stay positive whenever I can and try to at least present a good, positive, welcoming brand for ISU in the stands.
So when the season kicks off, are you going to do like a preseason Trevor poll, giving your predictions and stuff like that, like men's basketball, ISU 1, Bradley 11, right?
Yes. It's going to be very objective. Sure. Bradley 12, actually. I just said they're going to be.
No, there's only 11 teams now, Trevor. There's only 11 teams. So.
No, I don't know. So there's going to be an empty spot. It's going to be like
there's an empty spot. Got it. I stand corrected.
No, they don't even get the privilege of being 11. There's just going to be a team to be named later there.
We'll put Missouri State 11. That's fine. You can still do that.
Yeah. I'll just say that I forgot, and then we'll just move over there. They're not plausible time, but we can edit it out. Right? We can. Yeah.
All right, Trevor and Ty. Now we get to talk about some fun stuff. RDB, what does it stand for, and what are you doing with it?
RDB is very simple. It's very direct. Roll damn birds. And I think it's just encapsulates everything that I just feel and think about, just Redbird, it just means so much to me. And I think it means so much to the community. And I think just adding that just emphasis, I don't know. It's something that you almost just can't even put into words. And I think, ironically, I think that just fits just so well. And for me, it just rolls off the tongue. It's just something my friends and I would say, make a dunk or, any kind of just in passing. You see a Redbird and you go, hey, RDB, or, hey, roll damn birds, or, especially after, just something awesome happens, it just really just makes you want to just add that little mustard to it, a little English RDB. So that's at least the, my mentality behind, RDB and just why it's so special to me is just the passion. It's all about passion.
So did you teach Coach Peden RDB, or did he teach you roll damn birds?
I think I eventually showed him the ways of RDB. I think at least that's the way I would say it. I don't know. I saw him the first time he did his interview when he accepted that he was going to be coach, and I got a picture with him. I was fortunate enough to sneak over and say, hey, coach, welcome to Normal, and sneak in a roll damn birds, and just was really just happy with how how nice of it and just open and open-hearted of a person he is. So roll damn birds is just kind of it fell out because it just kind of it was just how we were feeling how I was feeling that day when he came on, because it was just an exciting hire, and the proof is in the pudding. So
Ty, is that something?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Ty, is that something you guys use in the locker room between each other? Like, do you guys say roll damn birds or RDB or?
Yeah,
I see a lot of finger pointing going on.
A little bit. Actually, in my coming back post, it was a part of my caption. So I think it's starting to creep into the locker room a little bit as well.
So when you see like another athlete from another sport, do you guys do the finger point ever or no?
Not usually, but because usually we call it the Redbird point, but we do that for the basketball wise. But I'm not sure if the other teams do it too.
Ty, have you taken an upper level marking class yet? You got to be consistent. You got to be repetition. You got to drill it into all the fans' heads. RDB, finger point. You got it, right?
I got it.
And then what you got to do is you got to get the other team just doing it, and like the rest of your teammates and other teams doing it naturally.
I know. We can start a little movement.
Exactly. Not a little movement, a big movement. So, Ty, when you hear like RDB, what does that mean to you?
It means a lot. Obviously, I think sort of my role in this whole thing is helping Trevor promote what this is. Obviously, I think Trevor's one of our most passionate fans. You guys see him jumping up and down, dancing during the games. So I think something like this is the least I can do for him, and I think it's obviously roll damn birds. That's something that just it rolls off the tongue, and I'm excited to pursue that and help Trevor with this moving forward.
I did notice Trevor sits in section 117, and that's where John and I sit, and we are in camera much more now than we used to be. Now that he's moved out of his student section into 117, somehow the camera is always on us now. And then we go to St. Louis, and he gets picked out of the stands there too. He's like a magnet for the camera. It's like unbelievable.
I got to sing. I was like, oh my goodness, I don't know. I'm already, my voice is pretty much gone. I'm running on empty. I didn't choose that song, but my power was very, very low at that point because there was a big run that the Birds went on, and I didn't think I was going to make it through, but the Birds powered me through. So I think the energy that you all play with, I think, gave me a little bit extra boost when the physically was just, I don't know if I can do it, but now I see what they're doing. We got people bleeding, we got people hitting the deck. We're sliding for balls. No, you got to get up, Trevor. Come on, you got to sweat. You got to bleed for the squad. You got to do what's necessary. RDB, roll damn birds, baby. Come on. That's at least. So yeah, no, I love that. That was fun, and just being able to be myself, and yeah.
Yeah, Ty's making fadeaway 3-point shots in the championship game of the CBI with no time left on the shot clock. I know what you're talking about.
My favorite is still watching him dribble the ball up when he was feeling it. I think it was an incarnate word. I think there was a time where you dribbled the ball up to half. Maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, but I was like, oh, he's feeling it. I'm like, I wouldn't want to guard him right there, because I could see. I just saw, CBI Ty just on a whole nother level. I mean, oh my goodness, that's the Ty that. Oh my.
Well, there's your next shirt, CBI Ty. Anyways, do I have to help you guys here or what? Anyways, let's go. RDB. When you sold your first set of shirts, right? And just to show you guys like some of the good things about this, tell people like what you took the proceeds for, Trevor, and what you used it for.
Yeah, so the first initial run with RDB, I was fortunate enough to have members of the coaching staff, Coach Peden, Coach Dockich, I think Coach Slay was able to get one as well. But I remember the coaches really supported me with the RDB shirt, and the money that I got from a soccer coach at the time got one. It was really nice to have family and friends, just other Redbird fans that were like, hey, I'm in on that. That looks cool. I like the concept. I took the money that I got from that, and I basically said, hey, let's make something that we haven't seen, at least as a promotion, and something that's just kind of died down, at least in kind of popularity. It was kind of, at least I saw it as a resurgent kind of item, and that was the headband. So I really wanted to have a headband that had a Redbird on the look, because you couldn't buy one. So I was thinking, hey, that's something that you could wear, working out. You could wear it at a game. It's just something that you could even just have and say, hey, that's just, a unique item, So I thought that the full body Reggie is one of my favorites. And just kind of I thought that with the white and then with that logo, it just kind of popped. It was simple. That's really, for me, a big thing is, simplicity, but just the wow factor that you can get from just, contrast. So you got a white headband, and then boom, you've got a cool logo. Letting that do the talking, and that was something that ended up being a promotional giveaway, and big with the kids camp, and it was thrown out during the event over a Ballin' on Buford. So it just meant a lot to me how the coaches really picked up, ordered more of those shirts, really made it a thing to where it was Kendall Lewis was wearing it on the floor. That's just one example of a player that initially was like, oh my gosh, yeah, I got to wear it, because he wore a headband pretty much every game. So when that came out, it really meant a lot to me to see that, I didn't even have to ask him to wear it. He just, he wore it, like other people that have supported me with RDB, with Ty and Dalton Banks, for example, they've worn the shirts, and it means a lot to me. So taking that money and then using it for a positive for, we the people, Redbird Nation, I think that's important. It's not about, grandiose or, a vain kind of, I invented the headband, or, I think I have the greatest ideas in the world, and I'm going to try to, become super, super wealthy off of it. I think it's about, using your tools, using your connections, using whatever you have, using God's gift, to help other people and invest in the things that we care about. And for me, ISU is a we thing, just like Pete, and I keep emphasizing that because I really do think that that's, what's going to get ISU to the next level and, lift us up as a school and athletics. It's about investing in people.
With the next run, Trevor, I need one shirt that's a 3X long.
3X long?
Yes, I'm putting my order in now. Put it in, because there's no way I'm fitting into one of your extra large shirts ever.
Okay, I will get you one.
Yeah.
I'll move mountains. It's a very simple thing. So it's just a phone call.
We were talking off air. Yep, we were talking off air. Talk about the different shirts you're kind of coming up with the next run for RDB. Right? You had some things you were talking about.
Yeah, so merchandise is a big thing, but interviews. I really want to make it interactive with the community. I want to make sure that we have staff members, that we have, people who, the design of the RDB font. So really using the message that had worked previously and that had resonated with fans. I wanted to make another edition of it because I thought it would be cool to kind of give it a sleek spin, a little bit of a razzle dazzle. I like cursive, so that's why I used that kind of, that design. And it gave an opportunity to fundraise Illinois State Athletics. So for me, I'm using the proceeds from the RDB. I'm going to donate that money. I donated that money to the Illinois State soccer program. So the money that was raised, the profit that was raised from the second edition of those RDB shirts was donated to a program that really means a lot to me, and also just doesn't necessarily get as much attention or just financial support as others. And soccer being a national global game, and with the World Cup coming up in a year on American soil, I think it's just really cool to, a sport that I played as well, but also just a way to support women's athletics. And I think that, women's athletics and sports like soccer, could really use, the assistance, and financial assistance is a big, way to turn things around in all reality. So using the money from the shirt to benefit that program and that kind of, movement is just really big to me, especially being in Bloomington Normal.
Well, that explains why I was saying Ty's offsides on fast breaks. But anyways, Ty, Ty, what's your favorite merchandise that Trevor's offered so far?
I kind of like you just talked about the cursive one. That's the one I was wearing all week at the CBI. It's just a red shirt, and then it's got the RDB in cursive right across the chest. But yeah, I was able to rep that down in the sun in Daytona for a week.
So Ty, you guys had a great way of ending the season. CBI champions. So let's talk about a little bit of merchandise and that tournament and how you got to wear the merchandise and celebrate at the same time.
Yep. So as we talked about earlier, me and Trevor kind of working on the whole RDB stuff, and I'm helping him promote that merchandise. So he actually left a shirt in my locker. I think it was a few weeks before the tournament, but I was able to wear that down at the CBI all week, and I think that brought us some good luck.
So did you toss out to Trevor and said, like, hey, I got this idea. If we win the CBI, it'll probably be like, I'll be able to promote it even more. So
yeah, that definitely would work, because obviously with us winning that, we got some more media attention, and it definitely could help promote it as well.
So let's talk about that. I think I'm telling you, like, you played. The first two games you played awesome. Like seriously.
I appreciate it.
What did you do to unleash the beast in the CBI?
I don't really think I did anything differently. We had a couple weeks of practice, obviously after the MVC tournament to the CBI, and a lot of those practices we did a lot of playing up and down, and I think I really found my groove doing that, and I think that really helped me contribute that towards the CBI. Just playing hard and going out there and having fun.
It looked like you were having lots of fun no, seriously. Uh-huh. And it wasn't just like offensively. Like, you played really well offensively, but like your rebounding was like awesome. Top notch, outstanding. Mm-hmm. So talk about, like, I mean, you played at St. Joe's. As Tyreek Coleman told us, it was a 1A school. Like, what was the transition, like, from a physical standpoint, from like where you played to you know, I mean, you bulked up. We can see it, right, and the physicality that you're playing with your, the end of your sophomore season.
Yeah, it's definitely a big transition from, I'll say, 2A basketball.
Was it 2A? Sorry.
Streak, but yeah, 2A basketball.
He said 1A though.
yeah. It's definitely a difference from 2A basketball to Division I basketball. Obviously, the guys they're bigger, faster, stronger. So just taking that step, getting in the weight room, that was a huge part of it, and I think that's what helped me more in my sophomore year.
And then like, just that tournament, it wasn't just like, 3-point shots. It was taking the ball, backing down sometimes, or slashing to it. A couple of breakaway dunks. Just talk about, like, it was like when you want someone that can score 3 different ways, you were doing it that week. Just walk us through what you were feeling, in that moment.
Yeah, obviously we started with Presbyterian, but early on in that game, I was able to get to my spots and knock down a few shots. And obviously, if you're a basketball player, once the first few go, your confidence goes way up. But I think just my teammates and Coach Peden, they did a really good job of putting me in positions to be successful in those games. And then, obviously, I was glad I was able to contribute.
All right, so talk about a little bit about Presbyterian. You guys go down a little bit. I mean, at one point you're down 10.
Yep.
Like 8 minutes to go in the second half. We saw Coach take a timeout, and if we could read lips, I don't know if I want to know what was said, but it kind of got you guys re-fired up. So talk about that moment there.
Yeah, Coach, he does really well in those situations. Just trying to keep us composed. Obviously, he's got to light a little bit of a fire under us, but I think he does that very well. He keeps us calm in those situations, and then obviously you guys had Dalton on the podcast as well. He's the guy in those situations. He was our leader. He did did great in those situations, just talking to each guys individually, making sure we knew what we needed to do the next time we went out on the court, and just keeping us composed.
And you know that's not going to become you that's going to have to start doing that. Because you're no longer an underclassman. Now you've moved up into those leadership roles.
Yeah, I think obviously our older guys, they were great examples of that, and that'll help us underclassmen who are now upperclassmen to help contribute that in the future.
Yeah, I mean, what better way to see it than live and in color in front of you, right? As they pass down the Redbird way. So, all right, so you get through Presbyterian, right? You guys we've heard Dalton, and then we were going to have Poindexter on. We've already heard from Poindexter, Malachi, talking about you guys went back and did film study. All right, now you come into Incarnate Word. You hit 2 monster threes at the end of the half. One with no time left, and you just decided to back up. You know what shot I'm talking about? Okay. We got great footage of it, so we're going to be throwing it in here right now as we're talking. Talk about, well, why didn't you go to the basket? Why did you step back? What was your thought process in that moment, right?
Obviously, I had the clock winding down, but I think sometimes just being able to get to those, coach calls them like a controlled fade. I figured that the guy who was guarding me, I was able to have a little bit of size advantage on him. So just being to elevate with that little controlled fade and shoot over him, I'm pretty confident with those shots. So I figured that'd be the best shot for that moment in time.
That was an awesome choice too, right? I mean, all right, next one I want to talk about is Malachi and the break. If you watch that, and we're going to throw the highlight up here, if you watch the highlight, that isn't at the rim, right? When he threw that, I'm like, uh-oh, and then, so you had to snatch that from 2 feet to the right and bring that back to the rim. What were you thinking? Were you just trying to go get it at that point and hope you're going to get close?
Yeah, I think obviously in those moments the adrenaline kind of takes over, but when we were both running down the court, this is actually a funny story. Me and Malachi, ever since my freshman year, we've always talked about him throwing a lob to me in a game. So him being able to do that in the CBI, that was a big moment between me and him. But kind of back to the question, running down the court, you could probably see on the video, but I pointed up with my finger, telling him to throw it up, and he threw it up there, and then at that point, it's just my job to go get it, and it was up there, but I had to go grab it and try to flush it down.
Yeah, I was like, I was watching that, and it was all of a sudden like, oh my God, I'm not even sure that's a lob anymore, right? I mean, because it was behind the rim. I was like, man, nice hops on that one. All right, so talk about that. All right, so now we get through Incarnate Word, right? You guys have played awesome. Now you get into the Cleveland State game, right? So talk about, right, as you were walking into the gym, what's going through your mind? You're nervous, you're not nervous, you're numb because you've walked in 3 times in this building already, which is nice, but that doesn't always how it works. So kind of talk about walking into the gym and what were you feeling and thinking at that point, getting ready to go against Cleveland State?
There's definitely always a little bit of nerves since it's a championship game, but playing on that court 2 times before that, we were familiar with our situation, but we knew Cleveland State was a good team, and we had to come in prepared, and we did a good job doing that.
I thought maybe you showed Mr. Bozer how to shoot threes right before the game, got him all warmed up. You're not going to take credit for that?
Yeah, he definitely got going. He was incredible that game.
Did you just feel like, when you see him like lighting up like that, or you guys like feed him the ball?
Absolutely. Well, I think it was in the second half. Coach drew up a play for him because at that point we were like, we know this dude isn't going to miss if he puts it on him. So we knew we had to draw one up for him.
Like Jimmy Chitwood in Hoosiers. It's always coach. Like, that's what it looks like from my perspective, is just give him the rock. He's going to flush it.
When the microwave is on fire like that, you just keep giving it to them, right? And so, yeah, that was awesome. All right, so game's over, right? You won. You get to start putting on the championship shirts and the hat, right? And to hold the trophy. What was that like?
It's definitely a great experience. Obviously, being able to send our seniors and Coach Judson out on a win, that's something that was huge for us. There's only 4 teams in the country that get to go out with that feeling every single year.
Amen.
So
Amen.
it's definitely a great feeling, and I think it's really good momentum for our program. I think it really gets the community excited for what's to come. But just being able to finish out on a high note, that's something that was very good for us as a team.
I can tell you this, as a fan, that 2 to 3 week time period, like, you know, Chase announces he's coming back, then you guys just go down there and have that great tournament, and then you guys come back and there's more announcements. I mean, it was just like people have been running through brick walls. Like if you had stood up there, the fans would be running through brick walls. It was just an awesome period of time.
Mm-hmm.
So,
All right, Trevor and Ty, this is where we call closing. So, Ty, we're going to lead off with you. We're going to talk in closing. You're going to talk about the RDB shirts and the future jerseys. So, why don't we talk about that?
Yeah, so one thing me and Trevor have been working on was a new version of the RDB shirt. It'll have not only the RDB on the front, but it'll include like a player and their jersey number on the back. It's always nice to look out in the stands and see someone with your jersey on there. I want to give a shout out to old Dave Stappenback. I sometimes see him up there in the stands. He's got my number 2 jersey on, so I think we could definitely hook him up with a number 22 shirt. That'd be big time. But yeah, me and Trevor thought it'd be really good. Make sure we could make that available to the public. Just have another shirt with our jersey's name.
Trevor, then we're going to hit you. Be quiet for a second. I'm going to just cut that out.
Uh-huh.
All right, Trevor. So close up with rdb1.media.blogspot.
Yeah, so go on out to the blog site, and there's going to be all kinds of different stories regarding different Illinois State teams, men's basketball, women's basketball, football, volleyball, soccer, you name it. There's going to be all kinds of different perspectives, players, coaches, staff members, just people who are just ingrained in Illinois State athletics and want it to be the best, destination and doing the best that they can. People who are, selfless in their pursuit of helping ISU and helping other people. And RDB1, media.blogspot, that is really where you can get all of those fun stories and perspectives. And would love for everyone to join. And see, as it progresses and how well the Birds, because really I'm nothing without the Redbirds. I love the Redbirds. Not overall, sorry, I'm just getting a little emotional just thinking about the Birds and just how much the staff and how the players, how Ty has been really nice to me, and I just really appreciate, just being able to work together with someone who has a speck of athletic ability. It just means a lot to have, these guys who are just, just all-stars, all Valley talent, just who I see in the NCAA tournament in 2026. I'm calling my shot right here. No confusion. Redbirds are going. They're winning the double.
No pressure, Ty.
No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure.
Well, I just know that that's what they're capable of, and I think we all see it. And we love them, and no matter what, we know they're going to give 100%. And that's my mantra: is give 100%, and that's what you're going to get on the blog site. Is just effort and passion.
That is awesome. Thank you, Trevor. All right, so this is Bird Fans Forever. This is episode 72 with Ty Pence and Trevor Arbogast. And hard T, he was telling me about that. So thank you so much for listening. John, hit it.